Welcome back to Shifted Reality, Season 3, Episode 2. Now, I know last episode we were playing with this kind of rotating wheel design on top of our new storage silos. And I did come across a little bit of a problem with them. I didn't think to check the chunk borders inside of here, and there's like a chunk line somewhere around here, like a corner of like 4 different chunks in this room. And apparently when these guys are in a chunk that is loaded, but the chunk next to them is only, shadow loaded, it's not in that simulation distance, they will ignore those chests. And so occasionally things that should get sorted in here are being sent over to our next room. And then it just ends up with this guy who has no idea what to do with it. Or in this case, I have no idea where these Hoglin heads came from because they are not set to be sorted in here at all. I didn't put them in here. So someone else must have come along and dumped them in. So between sometimes the chest being unloaded and unable to be used in the sorting process, and people putting things into the process that just haven't been established yet, I do need to give this room, I do need to give this room here some sort of overflow, just so that items can either return back to the source to be checked again, or otherwise, additional storage will be needed. Alright, so here I solved my overflow slash unsorted items issue. If this guy doesn't have anything to put in here, he'll drop it into this chest, and there's some droppers there that will send it up to the next level. Now up in these levels, these guys all have a little place that they each can put something. So now if there's something that gets in there that's not sorted or shouldn't be there, it will just start going around in a little bit of a circle until such a time as we end up coming back and realizing that they're stuck in a loop, and they'll just keep sorting it around and around and around until it gets back to the beginning. So currently I'm just using lunge to get back and forth onto these storage islands, and we need to fix that. 1, I'm going through food like mad. And 2, the only real way to get across is to either fly or lunge across. So let us fix that gap as our project for today. Not really sure what I was working towards, so I just went out and did some resource collecting. And now we're just going to drop it all off. Have fun, buddy. Okay, so it looks like this is Editor Minovate here, and it seems we've had a bit of an audio loss. So I'm just going to narrate a little bit here. And we came out here to where Bias and Philly Jap are working in order to get some slime balls, because I don't have any yet. All my mining has been done in the water cave, so slimes aren't spawning for me down there, and I did need to get some sticky pistons for my idea. Okay, so I went over to Thunder and Sticky Bridge to borrow a slime ball, because this contraption I'm making unfortunately is creating a bit of a lag if I let it all run, and so I'm going to slow down the timing a little bit so it doesn't run constantly and just a little bit more of an intermittent signal. And for that we need a sticky piston so we can move the trigger mechanism on and off, in and out. So I installed a basic etho hopper clock just to have a slow pulse that was going on, so that every time the pulse gets all the way to the end, a new one will fire. And this should create a far less lag than the initial design, which used an observer clock right here that was just firing this way too often. And it just kind of slows everything down. And I think it'll look better once we attach the moving bits like we have up there. onto the sides. I just need a little bit more honeycomb in order to fully wax all of this. So we don't have oxidation. I want to keep this copper nice and shiny. Now as we wait for the rest of our honey to come in, I just want to kind of go over. So similar how we had that kind of looping tape like symbol up there, I wanted to do the same thing. So we're trying to get the sense that these different structures are all connected and running some sort of mechanism between them. And so I wanted to do the tape, and so I came to the conclusion I needed it to be a little bigger than that little small wheel up here to capture it. But I also needed to keep it a little bit more chunk loading friendly. So that one it can get out of sync if part of it becomes unloaded and part of it stays loaded. This one is going to work out a lot better because if it gets unloaded, everything should just stop, and the hopper clock is a lot more stable and will restart it correctly every time it needs to. So now we have this little circling loop that's going through on the whole thing. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Why is this full back in the nether? Well, quite frankly, there's something I need. And it's that right up there. Normally, I usually set up a trading farm and I buy it off of clerics and stuff, but I just haven't gotten that far, so I need to collect this the old-fashioned way. But glowstone is my preferred method of lighting up builds because in bedrock condition it is easily hidden beneath slabs and other, inconspicuous things. Without a lot of animation or flickering to the lights like what, things like fires do. They don't induce a lot of lag when you just spam them everywhere, so yeah, I don't want to play with that guy. Yeah, I know to figure out if I can find my way back. Well, if you see me manage to get back to the overworld with 15 levels or more intact, then I have survived this trip. Oh man, look how close my spear was to being lost forever. That is a lucky drop. One of the things I love about Bedrock Edition is that light levels do pass through slabs, so I can go ahead and put down a line of glowstone like this. And obviously I don't have it here where the redstone thing is going back, but I can cover this all with a slab layer and it will make it look like it is a solid bridge while still keeping it lit up and, mob proof at night. Right now our resident redstone expert is examining the purpose and the skill of which I built this wonderful contraption. All to try and get that sense of a belt moving around in a circle. And here we were just flying around looking at the different areas that we plan to expand to for our base and just giving Red an idea of what we might accomplish. So after Red Ore came by and rated my redstone skills, which are still somewhat lacking, I decided to go in and finish putting in the floor of our bridge. And one of the little details that I love doing with any kind of survival build is putting in things like this that just feel like they shouldn't exist or shouldn't work in the Minecraft, even though they're entirely survival friendly. Such as putting in a railing where there's exactly one block of space between each one, but only a half slab that's holding it up. So, just the fact that that breaks the standard, one block pattern, and you end up getting like solid block and like two half blocks in between. I don't know. I think it makes the world feel a little bit more alive and more less uniform, I guess. Well, I seem to have lost some footage of me putting on this bottom part here, And this is kind of why I've never really worked in this biome before with the jagged mountains and floating islands is, while I've always been fascinated and like it, it's just a lot of extra work that trying to do this with scaffolding would just be super annoying. And the happy gases, opens up new opportunities for this kind of stuff. So we're going to keep persevering and seeing what we can get with this. Our next step is we just need to make sure that this bridge connects seamlessly with this island. And again, thanks to our happy gas, we can work underneath nice and easily. Oh man, I'm really starting to get some Season 1 vibes building out as I kind of come up with the vision piece by piece, working in stages, figuring out how to make a new component fit in with older components. Yeah. So I hope you don't mind a little bit of a mix-up, but I think we're working on this pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I need to get this bridge to blend in with this floating island. I mean, obviously we need to put something over there for where the bridge is going to, but that's probably going to be a next episode thing. So right now we're just going to focus on finishing up this side of it. I'm just going to bring that whole thing down a little bit, and we're going to add some more dirt around here to kind of pack it in, look like it's slightly buried and it's sticking through the island. And then down here on the bottom level, we're going to blend it all in with another section in the room. We'll probably open it up so that a bridge can come over this way a little bit and eventually connect over here. And I want to make it a pass through. I want to make it so it can also go over here and connect over here. As for the circling belt, this is still overall an in-progress sort of situation. We're really trying to make this all look like some mechanical components that are all interconnected, and each one is going to have its own little thing. We don't have any of that over here. Why is there a hole there? There should not be a hole there. But yeah, this texturing, this should continue up for this way. We just put in a solid wall here, so we need to fix that too. But that's tomorrow Minovate's problem. But right now, let us get into creating this lower room, kind of a transition point from that far side to this mountain peak right here. When I first started building this room under the island, all I really wanted was just something to connect the bridge to. And then I had the idea of making it a pass through for a future bridge that goes from that side over to that side. And part of that is just because I don't want this base to be linear. I want it to be kind of a twisting and turning exploration sort of location. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with this room other than having it pass through space. But now that I have it laid out like this, I'm thinking I should put a enchantment table in here. Give me a happy guest. We got work to go. We gotta go make an enchantment table. This is efficiency 3, right? Or fortune 3? Alright, so the problem is I have enough leather, but I do not have enough of a working sugarcane farm to make the paper I need for all the bookshelves to fully fill up. So we are off kind of searching for villages. I'm going to go ahead and take Electrons. Why not? So we're off searching for villages to raid and steal their bookshelves and supplies. And there we have our little enchantment area set up underneath the storage silos. And again, these kind of line up a bit. And this just allowed us to come in and create a connection point here. I went with the tuft walls in there just because I wanted it to look like the dirt is kind of, or the wall was kind of embedded into the dirt, getting that nice little exterior half slab effect. And same thing over on this side. And I went with the plain tuft look just because I thought it made a good darker contrast for more of a natural stone. And then I sprinkled throughout it just random hanging vines of different types. I want to see if I can't get this Pam moss to hang a bit more. But between all that and the vines that are spreading around, I just, it's just giving me this nice little look of, completeness, I think. And down below, I went ahead and added in some amethyst crystals, just because, I don't know. Having crystals on everything makes it look a little more magical. And since these are physics-defying floating islands, let's get some magic in there, shall we? But overall, the look of the moving belt, I think, is going to work out just fine. Again, everything is going to be interconnected with these different moving pieces, and we're going to use a couple different techniques. We're going to move away from the observers for our next one, just because they do tend to create a little bit more lag than we would otherwise like. And we are going to put on a connection point right here that's going to build up and allow us to, easily access our storage without needing to, climb up scaffolding and jump and parkour around. But overall, that's going to cut it for today. I know I need to get these episodes out a little bit faster. I just, life is just busy these days, and we got, real world things to worry about. I am going to be going to Japan next month, so maybe I'll post something on my trip there. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next episode of Shifted Reality. Bye, everybody. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I would like to get to 500 subscribers this year. Have a good one.